Coming up next on RMU Live, it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month at Robert Morris, and we went around to campus and talked to students about their opinion. Also, Rolling Stone has retracted the UVA rape story, and we have reactions, as well as Kenya and how they are taking revenge after the college student massacre that took place last week. Next. Welcome back to RMU Live for Monday, April 6, 2015. I'm John Fisher.
And I'm Delaney Hassel. Here's what's happening now.
RMU fraternities are taking action to help end sexual assault on college campuses. We spoke to Vince Russo, one of the students involved with leading this new initiative in Greek life.
Well, it's one of the bigger issues on all college campuses, and I know that fraternities get the most flack for it, but it happens in a ton of organizations that party or align themselves with the use of alcohol, and we just want to make people aware of it. We want people to know how important it is to raise awareness and try to prevent these things from happening, because on each side it impacts a ton of people, hurts a lot of people, and ruins a lot of lives and reputations for people. Yes, actually goes over the whole month. I think the one that I would like to highlight is on the 15th. It's a Wednesday. All the events are on a Wednesday. There's posters all over campus. You can check them out. The one that comes to my mind the quickest is on April 15th at 7, I believe. We're doing the walk a mile in her shoes. I did it last year. Looking forward to it this year. We put on high heels and guys run across campus just to raise awareness. Every once in a while, news crews come by and stuff like that. So if you want to get on the news, maybe it's an opportunity to get out, have a little fun.
100 students have already taken the pledge to end sexual assault. For more information, visit www.itsonus.org.
RMU men's basketball coach Andy Toole will be staying in Moon Township after coming up with an agreement that will keep him as the coach of the Colonials through the 2019-2020 season. According to multiple reports from ESPN and the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, Toole had interviewed and was considering becoming head coach of the Fordham University's men's basketball program. During his time with the Colonials so far, Toole led the team to multiple NEC titles and championships, along with 2 NIT appearances and 2 NCAA tournaments.
Less than 24 hours after the NEC Rookie of the Year Marquise Reed requested to transfer from Robert Morris, star freshman Elijah Minnie also requested his release from the program, and that will be the second starter to request to seek playing elsewhere. Minnie and Reed are still with the program right now, but their future is unknown. For more details, check out Colonial Sports Center this Thursday at 9:30 p.m. on RMUCentryMedia.com.
Multiple RMU student and community teams will be participating in the Relay for Life Walk on April 11th from noon to midnight at the Joe Walton Stadium. So far, there are 23 teams registered with over 200 participants that have raised over $15,000 so far. For more information, visit www.relayforlife.org.
WPXI is reporting 2 shootings in the Hill District last night that left 1 person dead and 3 other civilians injured. 3 men were riding in a car when shots were fired. West Oakland native Christopher Richardson tried to run away, but he was struck and killed. The other 2 men in the car were wounded. The 4th shooting victim was found on Burroughs Way in the same area around the same time last night. The homicide unit is currently investigating the case.
3 people were arrested in the Indiana borough after a police officer attempted to break up a fight between 2 Indiana University of Pennsylvania students. IUP students Jonathan Kim and Connor Joyce were involved in a fight around 1 a.m. Saturday. Kim assaulted an officer while trying to make his arrest and had to be subdued with pepper spray. Kim and Joyce are facing multiple charges, along with bystander Derek Papke, who refused to leave the area while intoxicated.
On Saturday night at a Catholic Mass in Altoona, a gun was fired. Officials say the discharge was accidental. The incident took place a little after 11 p.m. at the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament in Altoona. The Altoona Mirror is reporting the gun was carried legally as the man had his carry permit for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The gun went off as he was pulling it out of his pocket, said authorities. And for everything you need to know involving RMU news, sports, and entertainment, as well as tips for everyday living, be sure to check out RMUCentryMedia.com. And we have more news from around the world coming up after the break, including new details on what Rolling Stone called a journalistic failure. Plus, how Kenya is taking revenge after almost 200 college students were killed in a terrorist attack last week. Next.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest.
You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Managing editor Will Dana of Rolling Stone apologized to readers for the Virginia rape story completed in November of last year. CNN's Andrew Spencer reports.
The author of Rolling Stone's discredited article, A Rape on Campus, calls the review a brutal and humbling experience. The story centered on a woman's claims of a horrific sexual assault at a University of Virginia frat house.
It's a situation where seemingly fraternities are calling the shots, where sexual assault is rampant, where rape victims are afraid and discouraged from coming forward.
But that was 4 months ago. In a statement released Sunday, Sabrina Rubin Erdely describes the time since as among the most painful months of her life. November's article led to protests at UVA. The university suspended all fraternity activities. Someone even vandalized the frat house. Within a month, however, the story from the alleged victim, Jackie, started to unravel. Columbia Journalism School published the results of a 3-month outside review. Scathing, it cites multiple instances where it says Erdely and her editors failed to do enough to corroborate Jackie's claims.
There have been more phone calls, more reporting that have been done. Some of those obvious discrepancies would have come to the surface, and both the writer and her editors could have avoided this.
On Rolling Stone's website, the managing editor calls the report, quote, painful reading to me personally and to all of us at Rolling Stone. He apologizes and says he and his staff are committing themselves to making changes that are recommended by the report. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
For more information on this developing story, you can visit bbc.com.
As California faces one of the most severe droughts on record, Governor Edmund G. Brown announced actions that will preserve the state's water supply by limiting consumption by 25%. The newly enacted water restrictions have reignited the debate on global warming. In a statement, Governor Brown said, quote, the drought and water restrictions show that climate change is no hoax, end quote.
A Delaware family succumbed to serious illness while on a Caribbean vacation, and the cause is coming from the exact hotel that they stayed in. School administrator Steve Esmond, his wife Dr. Teresa Devine, and their 2 teenage sons were potentially exposed to a chemical called methyl bromide at the Serena USA resort on St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Methyl bromide is an ozone-depleting chemical that is colorless, odorless, and non-flammable gas.
A woman in Florida took a stand by refusing to put a hateful message on a cake in Florida and is now facing threats. CNN's Shelly Muniz reports.
I need a sheet cake, and I need it to say, we do not support gay marriage.
He wanted us to put a hateful message on a cake, and I said, we're not going to do that.
Sharon Haller owns Cut the Cake in Longwood, a mom and pop shop now at the center of controversy over that phone call and this video.
For me, this is nothing against gay people. For me, this is about religious freedom.
Joshua Fierstein, a former pastor in Arizona, is the man who made the call. He calls it a social experiment following Indiana's new and controversial religious freedom law.
I wanted to see if it was actually a double standard. If a gay-friendly bakery and one that advertises themselves so on pro-LGBT wedding sites would actually bake a cake that went against their principle. And that is Cut the Cake in Florida. Sharon Haller is the owner.
Haller says that experiment came at her expense.
We started getting some hundreds of phone calls and making very nasty and negative gestures towards our business, towards us.
I never asked people to call, be hateful, or boycott them. Hello?
This video depicting the request got more than 1 million hits. Fierstein says he took it down after the bakery asked him to do so, but then the bakery shared it.
If anything, I think this is definitely going to help their business.
This comes just days after a pizzeria in Indiana said that they would not cater for gay couples, which sparked a nationwide controversy.
Kenyan fighter jets have bombed al-Shabaab militants in Somalia following attacks on Garissa University last week. Here's CNN's Christian Purefoy.
A security check at a church service in Garissa, northern Kenya, where even young girls are checked for explosives or hidden weapons. Because Bishop Joseph's church has been attacked before.
And some people tried to get out and they realized that there were grenades. No? One was thrown from that side and the other one from in front.
And now another attack on Garissa University, where 147 people were killed after Christians were reportedly separated from Muslims.
Garissa is a town where you have mosques on one side of the road and churches on the other. It's a town that sits on one of the longest religious fault lines in the world, separating a predominantly Christian sub-Saharan Africa from a Muslim northern Africa.
The governor of Garissa County, Nadif Jama, says al-Shabaab's attacks are aimed at creating division and hatred.
Their intention, for instance, is to see a division between the non-Muslims and Muslims of this town. But again, that is something we need to fight.
Sitting and talking may not seem much like fighting back against al-Shabaab, but local religious leaders hope dialogue means understanding.
We have been living with the Christian brothers for all these centuries. We'll continue living with them. We'll be, learning together. We'll be coexisting. And anybody who does anything to divide us is just wasting his time.
Our doors are always open.
So when people come to church or mosque in Garissa, they're putting their lives in danger for something greater. Peace. Christian Purefoy, CNN, Garissa, Kenya.
2 camps have been destroyed thus far, and a Kenyan army spokesperson has said that the strikes will continue.
2 Australian drug smugglers have been sentenced to death in Indonesia after their death row appeal was refused. Andrew Chan and Mayuran Sukumaran were arrested in 2005 for leading a smuggling organization. Their lawyer has made multiple attempts of appeal, but has been denied due to Indonesian President Joko Widodo saying that it is policy to deny clemency to drug smugglers. Relations between Indonesia and Australia have been frayed, and the 2 are scheduled for execution soon.
President Obama has responded to the heavy criticism the White House is receiving from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the nuclear deal made with Iran. After 18 months of negotiations, Iran agreed to make drastic cuts in return for lifting off sanctions. President Obama called it, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see if we can at least take the nuclear issue off the table, end quote. Big sports weekend that just was.
Oh, yeah.
Pirates are starting today, as well as the Final Four wrapping up.
Yeah, go Bucks. That's so exciting.
Go, you're stealing my lines. So, Kristen Kudla, tell us what's coming up next in sports.
Well, John, the Final Four concluded this weekend, and find out how Wisconsin stunned an undefeated Wildcats team.
And first pitch forecast, we'll be seeing 64, sunny. Let's go Bucks.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
And welcome back to RMU Live. I'm Kristen Kolo with this week's Sports Wrap-Up. The Final Four of the NCAA tournament took place this weekend, and only 2 teams are left. Duke defeated Michigan State en route to the NCAA final with a score of 81-61. In the second game of the night, undefeated Kentucky took on a very evenly matched Wisconsin team, and by halftime the game was all tied up. Wisconsin was able to take the lead early in the second, but Kentucky was able to storm back and tie it back up. Again, with a minute 25 left, a charge was called on Kentucky and all momentum was switched in favor of the Badgers. Wisconsin's Frank Kaminsky led both teams in scoring and rebounds with 20 points and 11 rebounds. And Wisconsin was able to punch their ticket to the final game after defeating Kentucky 71-64. The final 2 teams will take to the court tonight, and you can catch all the action on CBS at 9:18. From the court to the ice, the Pittsburgh Penguins seem to have found themselves in a huge slump right before playoffs. So far in the month of April, the Penguins have faced the Flyers twice, who keep in mind are out of playoff contention, and the Blue Jackets, and have lost all 3 games badly. With only 3 games left, the Penguins really have to get their act together if they have any hopes in making the playoffs, let alone advancing at all. If you want to see if the Penguins can get their act together, their next game is tomorrow at 7:30 against the Ottawa Senators. Well, that's all the time we have left over here in sports. Now to Jordan with the weather.
Thank you, Kristen. I want to talk about today's forecast. If I didn't mention, they're playing in Cincinnati, so not here in Pittsburgh. We shouldn't have any conditions, any issues in Pittsburgh today. Sunny, warm. Clouds are going to be moving in overnight because tomorrow we'll be seeing chances for rain. Tomorrow, chances increase throughout the afternoon. Scattered showers throughout the afternoon because the cold front and disturbances are going to start making its way through the country. And take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tuesday through Friday, chances for rain. Wednesday through Friday, there'll be increasing chances for showers. 60s, though, very warm. But Friday night, we start to drop off. It's going to be windy. We're going to have a southerly flow. Now, the chances for rain Thursday and Friday, they could be up to 1 to 2 inches of rain by Friday night. Now you look at the low temperature of 41. I'm not concerned about snow this weekend. We're going to be rebounding into the 60s. It's going to be beautiful for this week. Now it's not going to be all day rain. If you have plans outside, check the radar because you can have hit or miss showers. Tomorrow it's going to be just hit or miss. Now again, like I said, into the weekend it's going to be warm. We'll be back into the 40s by the weekend.
Jordan, thank you so much. Great weather for the Pirates, and that's all that matters.
Oh,
so,
yeah, of course.
Baseball season's here. Go Bucks.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy.